In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 2024 election and how it's going to impact your office and what you can do about it. Political ads, they're spending way more. We're going to talk about that and how that impacts people's attitudes, how it impacts dental overall, and what you can start doing planning now and into 2025. And there's a strategy that I want to give to you that will help you make sure that you get as much treatment in at the end of the year and going into next year, no matter what happens in the election. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Dental Marketing Go. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the owner of SMC National, where we help offices just like yours level the playing field against the big guys out there so you can grow the way that you want. But it's hard to grow when they're spending $12.32 billion on ads for the election. And this is crazy because I actually live in California and I don't ever really see presidential ads. I just don't, because California is not a swing state. It's a blue state and it always votes blue, so they don't run ads here. But for the first time in my lifetime, I'm in my 40s, for the first time, I saw a political ad in California. And I thought this was very, very interesting, and it caught my attention. I was watching a football game, and they played a political ad. And I was like, man, they're spending a lot more money. And someone sent me the numbers yesterday. In 2020, they only spent $9 billion only, right? It's a ton of money on political ads during the presidential season. This year, they're going to spend close to $13 billion. That's a huge increase. It's a 30% increase. And that's going to impact the people, your patients, and how they feel about things. And so at the end of the show, I'm actually going to give you a strategy, and I'm going to give you some scripting to help you through this, so that way it doesn't impact you quite as much. But first, let's talk about why these political ads actually impact you. So there's a couple different things. One, they just impact because they're buying up ad space. So that buys up attention, right? There's only so much attention, but that's not really the big thing. Here's the big thing, the reason that this really impacts the dental industry during election years is because the election ads are very polarizing and they're driven by fear, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, if you watch the political ads, they're basically like, hey, if you vote for this person, we're all going to die, right? We're all going to disappear off the earth. And if you vote for this person, we're all going to die and we're going to disappear off the earth, and it's the end of the world, right? Both sides are literally saying that it's the end of the world if you vote for them. And what that does is it freezes people. People get scared and they're like, man, if we don't vote for this person, it's going to be the end of the world. And so we're going to wait and see what happens. We're going to hold on to our money in case we need it for something, for an emergency or something like that. So people sit on the sidelines, and this hurts every single industry, not just dental, cars, houses, anything, any big buying decision starts to slow down a little bit. Now, it doesn't stop it completely. It just slows it down. And I was recently in a Facebook group, a big Facebook group with about 60,000 members, and someone posted in there, my October's still slow. My October is feeling like September, and that's not normal. And I was shocked by how many people, it was scores of people that were in there that were saying, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. And I started to piece it together. It's because of the election. People are slowing down and they're making less buying decisions, which even if that only hits you by like 10% or 20%, that's a huge number that's impacting your practice. So we can sit on the sidelines and do nothing about it, or we can do something about it. And I want to first, before I give you the strategy, I want to first talk about what might happen. I'm going to give you a worst case scenario, okay? So leading into the election, there's a lot of fear. A lot of fear is going to be driven. And what could happen is kind of like what happened in 2020 and I forget the year, but remember when George Bush and Al Gore ran against each other? And remember how the election voting count actually dragged out? So that could happen here again. You say, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that the impact of this could drag into November, right? And it could get really ugly with like, I won, no, this recount that. And the longer that drags out, the worse it is for the economy, okay? And it might drag out for a couple days, it might drag out for a week, it might drag out for a month, right? So we just want to be ready for that. So what can you do to actually overcome this? Well, the easiest thing to do, if you're an office that accepts insurance, is just to keep running your end of year benefit emails, text messages, those kind of things. That's easy. End of year, your benefits are going to expire. And the reason that's the easiest is the same reason that dental's one of the most consistent industries in the world, is that it's the GP business is largely revolves around insurance, right? And benefits. So during downtimes, GP basic bread and butter dentistry doesn't really dip that much because people have those benefits that they can use, and dentists have gotten really good at tapping into those, right? Now, as you start to get into larger treatments, that's not the case. A lot of people don't remember during the 2008 downturn that we saw, the big recession that we saw. We haven't seen anything really like that again. Even COVID wasn't as big as that. That was scary, and a lot of bigger case type dentistry started to go out of business. Full arch wasn't as big back then, but a lot of like veneers and aligners and those kinds of practices that were largely predicated on those types of treatment, they closed down. And it was because the money dried up. So hopefully we don't see something like that, but it is something to keep in mind. Now, there's a second piece to this strategy that I want to give you. So the end of year benefits is part of it. And if you want the scripting on that, just drop a comment below. We already have all the scripting for that. You can run the text messages, you can run the emails, and you can also run retargeting ads for your patients. So you can very cheaply, a couple $1,000, just target all of your patients, hit them with an ad, and get them to come back in and use their benefits before the end of the year. Now, there's a second part. A lot of people in your practice are sidelined with their treatment. So there's treatment that they need, and they're just like kind of waiting. They're waiting to get that treatment done until after the election. So what I would recommend you doing is start pulling together your unscheduled treatment list that you've had for this year, for 2024. And I would run an unscheduled treatment campaign for into November, like right after Thanksgiving, right into December 1st. And I would run that right into December and into January. You say, what does that mean? So basically, there's people that you've already presented treatment to. There's people who've come in with problems. They got the problem kind of fixed, but not all the way fixed. And they're not buying treatment right now. They're just not. They're sidelined. And so you need to get back in front of them, and you need to give them a reason to get the treatment done. So there's two different ways to do this. So first way is you want to make sure that you give them some kind of reason to get the treatment done. So like a 10% discount. Hey, anybody who needs treatment over $10,000, we're going to give you a 10% discount if you come in by this day and get this treatment done. So that's the first thing that you want to do. Then when the benefits reset in January, you want to drive them back in immediately again, if they didn't come in, right? And so what you do is you get a end of year push, and then you get a January push. And this is largely just money that's sidelined. So you're still January, you're going to see an uptick in new patients because the benefits reset. So there's just naturally more people coming into the market that need a dentist around January. It's kind of like the gym market, right? Everybody in New Year's, new me, new smile, new body. So everybody's really excited, really motivated. Benefits reset, and there's a whole new market of people. But December doesn't present that. So you want to double dip on that. And you're going to be able to get some of that unscheduled treatment. And if you go look into your PMS, you're going to notice that there's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, if not more, of unscheduled treatment. And you can get a lot of that into December and then get some of that scheduled into January. Meaning you see the patient or you talk to the patient and say, hey, let's get you scheduled into January. And now you're proactively dealing with this slump that you're going to experience end of October and November to make up for some of that. So I know that's a little more complicated. I know most dental offices don't think this way. They think month to month, but you really have to think a month ahead to be able to take care of these kind of things. And especially in the swing states, you guys are going to be experiencing more of a drawdown. But again, I'm in California and I'm seeing political ads. So I have a feeling that this is going to hit a lot more states. Plus with a 30% uptick in political spending, just more people are going to be hit more often, and that's going to create more of a negative vibe in the economy overall, which is just going to slow down things overall. Not that you can't still win. You can still win. You're just going to have to think ahead. So don't wait for your numbers to dip. Start acting now. If you want those scripting, comment below. It really helps me. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, if you just thumbs up or leave a comment, it really helps me. It doesn't cost you anything just to do that for me. So hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.